Few developments have helped government agencies innovate faster and more effectively than the evolution of the cloud. I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and here to talk about cloud's impact on the public sector is Kaschit Pandya, Deputy CIO for IT operations at the IRS. Kaschit, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Wyatt. I appreciate it.
Let me start by asking, how has the cloud enabled the IRS to make significant improvements in the services it delivers to the public and or your agency's federal customers?
Absolutely. The cloud has been prevalent for many, many years. And similar to the adoption of many technologies, we have started to adopt the cloud over the course of the last several years. We started our journey somewhat methodically, being careful and cautious as the technology was still relatively new. But as we became more and more comfortable with it, we started to expand its use. Our cloud journey over the last several years has allowed us to really focus on providing the best service for our taxpayers and our customers. We've done so by slowly migrating some of our key applications. Our website, irs.gov, is fully hosted in the cloud. Over the course of last several years, we've moved many of our external facing applications to the cloud, always taking into consideration that we want our presence on the cloud to be safe and secure, knowing we are responsible for protecting taxpayer data. We are using irs.gov, one of the most visited sites from a government perspective and government agency perspective. That also allows individuals and businesses to come in and get the services that they need and do so safely and securely. So that's one example. Our focus has always remained on where can we identify the most efficiencies, cost savings where possible, and of course, doing it all while keeping ourselves and our data safe and secure.
Well, can you talk a little bit about an example of maybe one or two of the primary technology challenges that your agency faced in delivering service to the public, and how did the cloud help you overcome them?
Absolutely. So, from a challenge perspective, while we have a budget, most of our budget is allocated to our operations and maintenance. In fact, we're right around that 75 to 80% of our budget going to operations and maintenance. The cloud has helped us to really focus on leveraging what it provides best, the elasticity, the immediate access to resources, and therefore doing so has allowed us to cut out some of our processes, but also some of that lead time, and then ultimately the ability to reuse or return the resources when not necessary for not used. That has really made a huge difference in how we operate and how much we're able to save through it, whether it's from a money perspective or a time perspective or just overall management perspective.
The next, maybe you could describe a couple of key outcomes that the cloud allowed your agency to achieve compared to maybe where you were just a couple of years ago.
Absolutely. So the cloud really has been a game changer for us as we started to adopt more and more of our applications and services by leveraging the cloud. Resiliency is the first one that comes into mind. With our environment, we need to ensure that the services we provide are available and accessible for all the taxpayers at all times. Cloud has played a huge role in providing that resiliency. In addition to that, our ability to deploy applications, infrastructure, and services faster. While internally we do a great job of deploying our applications and infrastructure, that immediate access to the underlying infrastructure that we need takes a little bit longer within our environments on-prem than it does in the cloud. So having access to infrastructure on demand really has been a game changer. And the third one I can talk about, the one that we have seen the benefits from, is the pay-as-use service. Now, we buy infrastructure, we buy applications, we buy compute as we need and had projected for an application or a service. However, we want to be careful not to under purchase, and therefore we end up buying what we buy based on our projections. If there is any excess, we are responsible for determining how best to take care of that excess, but we've paid for it already. that pay-as-you-use model that the cloud provides allows us to buy exactly what we need and then scale up as we need to scale up, or scale down when we don't need that same level of compute and resources.
And lastly, what one or two key lessons or maybe even surprises did you experience moving to the cloud? And what do you plan to adopt in the way of additional cloud services next?
Absolutely. Our internal target and goal and mantra is cloud first. But at the same time, we are being intelligent and we're being smart. So we say cloud first, cloud smart. Not everything that gets moved to the cloud immediately becomes a better than it was possibly or probably on-prem. So we want to be careful about what we move. And before we move it, we do the analysis to make sure that it is going to get us the benefits that we truly need and want and have identified. That was one lesson that I would say I would encourage anybody and everybody to consider prior to moving to the cloud. There is this misguided notion that everything in the cloud automatically is better and cheaper and faster. That's not always the case. Look at your applications, look at your ecosystem, identify where the value can be derived by migrating to the cloud, and then move to the cloud. The second one is in ensuring that our workforce is prepared for that migration, not just actual act of migrating an application, but also to be able to manage and handle the infrastructure, the applications once it has been migrated. We are ensuring that our workforce is in lockstep with our future state. So we are preparing them through training, through identifying the right skill sets that we need and will need in the future, and finding the talent that can make sure that one, we can migrate safely and securely, and then we can operate safely and securely. So workforce and I would say being cloud smart are some of the takeaways, lessons that we really learned from our journey as we continue to move. As far as our future state, we're continuing to look at what are those technologies that we can benefit from and take advantage of. We are starting to look at moving up the ladder of the as a service model. So it's not necessarily an infrastructure as a service. We're starting to look at platform as a service, software as a service, really getting the benefits of that as a service model while removing that administrative overhead that comes with managing infrastructure. We're looking at containers, we're looking at APIs, all the technology that we hear a lot about that we can truly take advantage of as we continue migrating on our journey to the cloud.
Well, Kaschit Pandya, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to share your insights and observations. It's hard to really appreciate just the scale that the IRS operates on, and I can only imagine how the cloud is helping you achieve some of your objectives faster and more effectively. So thank you for being with us.
Wyatt, thank you for having me.